Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be sharing my April book haul with you. This is going to be a kind of chaotic, massive book haul that we've got going on here. I really didn't organize like anything. It's all just in a pile next to me. And as I mentioned in my quarterly wrap-up video, I failed miserably this month at my goal. I ended up acquiring like a ton of new books, but I'm really excited about everything that I got. I also had the opportunity to go to physical bookstores this month, which was a dream. So that's also why I ended up getting so many books. There were a couple of times, not only Indie Bookstore Day, which I already posted a vlog of, but there were a couple of other days too that I got to go to physical stores and couldn't help myself. So I have a lot of books that I purchased. I have some books that were sent to me by publishers, and I'm excited to share them all, but I should just get into it because there's a lot to cover here. So first on the pile, and the most recent book acquisition of mine, is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is one that was on my most anticipated list. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. It's part murder mystery, part rom-com, and I'm so excited to read it. It just sounds like it's gonna be over the top and like an insane read. The basic premise is that we are following our main character who goes on a blind date with someone but accidentally ends up killing him and then has to enlist the help of her aunties who run a wedding business to help her cover up the body, but the body accidentally gets shipped to a wedding of a billionaire, which is like one of the biggest weddings that they are ever working on. So obviously lots of hijinks, and it sounds so great. I can't wait to read it. Then I got Volume 4 of the Rose of Versailles manga. This is one of my favorite anime of all time. Rose of Versailles takes place during the French Revolution, and Marie Antoinette is one of our main characters. She's not our main character, but she is one of the main characters. Our main character is her personal guard, Oscar. It's amazing, and I'm so excited that they're finally printing this in English and in these really beautiful hardback editions. Then I got Behold the Dreamers by Mbolo Mbwe. This is a book that I picked up in another vlog that I don't think has actually been posted just yet, but I got this one in the store at the Strand and I'm so excited to read it. It takes place in Harlem and it follows an immigrant family that moves to New York and ends up getting a job working for a very rich family, and it takes place during the time of like Lehman Brothers when that whole collapse happened. It sounds excellent. I also got The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichek. This is an adult fantasy novel and it's following a witch who I believe was exiled, and then she falls in love with Loki, the trickster god, and that sounded amazing to me, so I obviously picked this one up. Then I have Namesake by Adrienne Young. This is the second book and the completion to the Fable duology. I read Fable in April. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see where the story is going to go from here. This is fantasy, but like not really fantasy. It's just pirates and seafaring adventure, which had me hooked, so again, can't wait to read the conclusion. I feel like I'm moving through things really quickly, which is so nice, and editing Kristen is going to love me for this. Then Random House was kind enough to send me the next book in the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. This one is called Greater Good. This is the second book, and we are following Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is, if not my absolute favorite, definitely one of my like top 3 male favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. Then I have Malice by John Gwynne. As if I do not have enough unread adult fantasy books, I was in an adult fantasy kind of mood and I ended up picking this one up. It's been on my radar for so long, and I had been telling myself like forever that I needed to complete one adult fantasy series before I purchased the first book in another series, but that obviously didn't happen, and Malice is in my hands now, but I'm excited to read it. I've heard excellent things. I actually don't really know too much about what this is about. I think it might be like a darker fantasy, but very digestible, very readable. Then I have Seance Tea Party by Romina Yi. This is a middle grade graphic novel and it just looks delightful. The art style is super cute. I really like the premise. We are following a character named Laura who seems to kind of grow apart from all of her friends. They just have different interests and kind of go their separate ways. So she decides to have a tea party in her house, and then she ends up meeting Alexa, who is the ghost that haunts her house. And I believe the two of them form a friendship, and It sounds great. Then another adult fantasy novel that I picked up this month is The Bone Shard Daughter. This is by Andrea Stewart. It's the first book in the series. I, again, have heard really good things about this one. I swear every time that I'm in the bookstore, I just look at this book and I'm like, that is such a beautiful cover, and I've heard so many people rave about it. I know Elliot from Elliot Brooks really loved it. I know Alexa from Alexa Loves Books really loved it. I have been told that it's something that I would enjoy too. We are following a character named Lynn, who is the daughter to the Emperor, but she's not his biological daughter, so she's not the heir to the Empire, and she needs to fight in order to like reclaim the throne, and she doesn't have any memory of her childhood. It's been erased by this mysterious illness that she has. I'm intrigued. Then I finally also heard enough people sing the praises of Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, so I'm really hoping that I'm going to enjoy this one as well. I think that this one is also kind of light on the fantasy, and it's more considered fantasy because there are dragons in it. It's full of political intrigue, which is really what I enjoy in my fantasy. Character moments and political intrigue are like two of the things that I love most, so I'm really hoping that I'll like this one as much as everyone else seems to, especially since I've been struggling with YA fantasy a lot, but I have high hopes for this. Then Simon & Schuster sent me an ARC copy of Morgan Matson's new book. This is called Take Me Home Tonight, and I've been really looking forward to this one because it takes place in New York City. It's following two best friends who I believe are from Connecticut, and they come to New York City for the night, but they get separated, and I think that they lose their cell phones, and they both have kind of crazy adventures in the city, and I'm just the sucker for anything set in New York City. Then I have Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I've been wanting to read this for so long. I think that it sounds so interesting. It involves AI, and our main character Clara is actually an AI and discusses what the difference is between artificial intelligence versus being human. It sounds super fascinating and like something that I would be totally interested in, so I cannot wait to read this one. Then Goodreads was kind enough to send me a copy of The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the From Blood and Ash series. I read the first book in January. I loved it, and I finally got the second book on ebook. It was on sale for like 99 cents the other day, so I can finally read that one, and then I can dive into the third one. I'd been holding out because I'm excited for the Illumicrate versions. They're special edition hardcovers and they're absolutely beautiful, and I didn't want to buy multiple copies of the same book, so it worked out that I got the ebook, and now I can read that one and then read this one. Then I got Marvelous Manhattan. This is a book that I also picked up in a recent vlog, which you guys will see later, so I'm not going to really go into the details because you'll find out what it's about in there. The same goes for Kim Ji-young, born 1982. I also got that in the same vlog. This one I actually already read, so you'll hear more about it in my April wrap-up, but I really, really enjoyed it. It was excellent. And the final book from that other vlog haul is A Children's Bible by Lydia Millett. My future sister-in-law Amanda loved this book, and she told me like that it was probably going to be one of her favorite books of the year, which I really trust her because she reads a lot too, so she definitely had my attention. We're following 12 children who are forced to go on this vacation to a lakeside mansion, and then a storm descends and the children decide to run away, and it kind of turns into like an apocalyptic situation. And it sounds great. Then I got Shipped by Angie Hockman. This is a rom-com, and it sounds kind of similar to The Hating Game. I believe it's following like two coworkers who don't get along, and then they're kind of on a vacation together, and then they probably fall in love, and it just looks like a nice beach read. And they're also like vying for the same promotion and trying to compete with each other while they're on this vacation. Then I got The Forest of Wool and Steel. This is by Natsu Miyashita, and it's all about trying to find your purpose in life, and that sounds like it's going to be pretty thought-provoking. I believe that this one is actually translated from Japanese, and I've been so enjoying short Asian literature lately, and I have a feeling I'm going to end up loving this one too. Then I got Mermaid Inn by Jenny Holiday. This again just looks like a nice, fun, cute beach read. It takes place in a small coastal town. She inherits her aunt's inn, the Mermaid Inn. You know, tons of typical romance tropes, but it sounds cute. Then I went book shopping with Alexa and Rachel at the McNally Jackson at the Seaport, and this was a book that I just kind of stumbled upon. It's called The Impossible Fairy Tale. It's by Han Yuju, and it's translated from Korean, and it's kind of like a horror novel, and it just sounded fascinating, but really I was drawn to this cover. I think the cover is really beautiful, and the back cover, it felt like it spoiled the entire book just in the synopsis, and I was kind of like, I feel compelled to buy this just to see if anything else happens in the story, or if like they really did lay out the entire plot on the back of the book, and especially like when it's supposed to be a thriller kind of horror novel. So I have to read this and then report back. I don't want to give the synopsis because it feels super spoilery. Then I picked up The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. This is by Edith Holden, and it's really beautifully illustrated, and it's just Edith Holden's like diary from when she was younger. It has a lot of reflections and observations on nature, and it sounds great. Let's hope this pile does not fall. Then, as I said, I've been having a lot of success reading short translated fiction, so I picked up Untold Night and Day. This is by Bae Sua. It's translated from Korean, and it kind of sounded a little bit to me like The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. We're following a protagonist who leaves work with her boss, and they just have like a strange fever dream of a night. I'm intrigued. Then I have Winter in Sokchow. This is by Elisa Shua Dusapen. I'm probably saying that incorrectly, so I'm sorry for that, but this is a novel that follows a French-Korean girl. It takes place in Sokchow, which is a city that is kind of on the border of South Korea and North Korea, and we are following a character that is like a receptionist, and she meets a graphic novelist, and he wants to get to know like the real Korea, so they go on different adventures together around the country, and instead of going to like the places that she normally goes to, he's really interested in discovering like the heart of the land and like the mountains and the things in nature, and it opens her eyes to a different side of Korea that she never saw before, and I was very intrigued. Then I have The Ice Palace. I'm not even going to attempt to say the author's name because I know that I'm going to butcher it. This takes place at a frozen waterfall in the Norwegian fjords. It follows two girls who strike up a friendship, and they decide to explore what they call the Ice Palace, but one of the girls doesn't return, and then the other one has to cope with her loss while trying not to succumb to the Ice Palace. And it sounds like beautiful. I also just love this cover. Then I have Tokyo Ueno Station, which I'm also probably saying incorrectly. This is by Yu Miri, and this is another novel that's been translated from Japanese. This one takes place at a train station, and I believe that we're following like the ghosts of homeless people. There's actually not much of a synopsis written on the book, but that's what I remember when I looked it up. And this one is actually a National Book Award winner. Then I will super quickly just show you the books that I got from Indie Bookstore Day. In that vlog, I again went into depth about the synopsises of each of them in that vlog, so if you're interested, you can watch it. The New Wilderness by Diane Cook, Minor Feelings by Kathy Park Hong, Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi, Severance by Ling Ma, Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner, and My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. So as you can see, I got way more than 10 books this month. I so far exceeded my goal, but I'm really excited to read everything, and I did get a lot of very short fiction, so I do feel like I'll be able to read it rather quickly. And I'm also just like, I think all of these books are like at the top of my TBR now, so that's exciting. Let me know what you picked up in April. Let me know if you picked up anything during Indie Bookstore Day, if you were able to go out and celebrate. I know a lot of places are still in lockdown, a lot of places are still closed. I'm fortunate enough to be in New York where we've been rolling out vaccinations and things are getting safer. Going to bookstores again has just been like the light of my life recently. I am living for it. I'm going to the bookstore again next Saturday. But that's all that I have for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I know that it was, again, pretty massive haul, kind of chaotic and very quick paced, but I just wanted to get it filmed and posted so that you guys could see what I got this month. Okay, so that's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one.